Imagine finding a trail in the middle of a desert. Not footprints. Not tire tracks. A trail made by a massive rock. The problem? There's nobody around for miles. No animals, no machines, no slope. Nothing that should have been able to move it. Now imagine finding dozens of these trails. Some perfectly straight, others twisting and turning for hundreds of feet across the ground. And at the end of every trail sits a rock weighing hundreds of pounds. As if it had dragged itself there, here's where it gets even stranger. For nearly a century, people kept finding new tracks. The rocks kept changing positions. Yet nobody ever saw them move. Not a single eyewitness. Not one photograph. Not one video. It was as if the rocks only moved when nobody was watching. Scientists were baffled. Visitors were obsessed. And some people began wondering if something far stranger was happening. Because how do giant stones travel across flat ground with no visible force? Why do some move in straight lines while others suddenly change direction? And why did this mystery remain unsolved for almost 100 years? Today, we're exploring one of the most bizarre natural mysteries ever discovered. The case of the sailing stones. And trust me, the answer is almost as strange as the mystery itself. Deep inside Death Valley National Park lies a place called Racetrack, Playa. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. A flat, dry lake bed surrounded by mountains. Silent. Empty. Motionless. But scattered across the playa are rocks unlike any others on Earth. Some weigh only a few ounces, others weigh hundreds of pounds. And somehow, these stones move. Not downhill, not with gravity. Across perfectly flat ground. Even stranger, each rock leaves behind a trail that records its journey. Some trails stretch hundreds of feet. Others extend for nearly a quarter of a mile. Some move in straight lines. Others zigzag wildly across the desert floor. Every new trail created another mystery. Because there was one major problem. Nobody had ever witnessed the movement. Visitors arrived. Scientists arrived. Researchers spent years studying the phenomenon. Yet the actual moment when the rocks moved remained invisible. It was almost as if the desert was deliberately hiding its secret. Naturally, theories began to spread. Some believed powerful winds were responsible. Others suggested magnetic forces hidden beneath the earth. A few even proposed paranormal explanations. After all, if nobody had ever seen the movement happen, almost any theory seemed possible. But then researchers noticed something strange. Not all rocks behaved the same way. Some traveled in nearly perfect straight lines. Others curved unexpectedly. Some stones, sitting only a few feet apart, moved in completely different directions. The mystery was becoming harder to explain, not easier. And then came another shocking discovery. Some of the largest rocks had traveled incredible distances. Certain trails stretched nearly 500 feet across the playa. That's almost the length of 5 football fields. How could something so heavy move so far without anyone noticing? For decades, scientists returned again and again. They mapped rock locations, measured weather conditions, installed monitoring equipment. And still, the mystery remained unsolved. But then, after nearly a century of questions, something finally happened. Researchers captured the phenomenon on camera for the very first time. And what they discovered surprised everyone. The rocks weren't being pushed by powerful storms. They weren't sliding because of hidden magnetic forces. And they certainly weren't moving because of anything supernatural. Instead, the answer involved a rare combination of events that almost never happened at the same time. First, rain transformed part of the dry lake bed into a shallow pond. Then freezing nighttime temperatures covered the surface with a thin sheet of ice. The next day, the desert sun began melting that ice. Large, floating panels formed across the water. Then a gentle breeze arrived. Not a strong wind. Not a storm. Just a light breeze. As the fragile sheets of ice drifted across the playa, they slowly gathered behind the rocks. And little by little, the ice nudged the stones forward. The movement was incredibly slow, only a few feet per minute. so slow that someone standing nearby might not even notice it happening. Yet over hours and days, those tiny movements created the long, mysterious tracks that had puzzled people for generations. The mystery was finally solved, or at least mostly solved. Because even today, witnessing the phenomenon is incredibly rare. The conditions have to be almost perfect: rain, freezing temperatures, thin ice, gentle wind. Everything must happen at exactly the right time. Which means most visitors never see the rocks move. Many scientists never see them move. And Racetrack Playa continues to feel mysterious even after the explanation became known. That's what makes the sailing stone so fascinating. For nearly 100 years, people searched for extraordinary answers. Some imagined hidden forces. Others imagined something beyond science. But in the end, the truth turned out to be something else entirely. A reminder that nature can create mysteries far stranger than fiction. And sometimes the most incredible secrets aren't hidden from us because they're impossible. They're hidden because they happen so slowly, so rarely, and so quietly that almost nobody is there to see them. The rocks were never breaking the laws of nature. They were simply following rules nobody had managed to witness. And perhaps that's the strangest part of all. The mystery was happening right in front of us the entire time. We just weren't looking at the right moment.